Some voices changed music forever, but the real story? It was never just about the talent. It was about the pain behind the mic.
I want to spend my life with you.
The battles nobody talked about, the songs that came from places so deep, they hurt to sing. You think you know these artists, but there are chapters in their stories that history almost forgot.
Just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
This countdown will change the way you hear the music you've loved your whole life. From number 10, all the way to the one voice that made the whole world stop.
Oh, yes, it will. It's been true.
This is the real story of R&B's greatest of all time. Number 10, Al Green, Let's Stay Together.
Oh, brand new.
Close your eyes and hear those opening guitar strings, that slow, warm groove settling in like a comfortable chair at the end of a long day. That's not just music coming out of those speakers, that's a feeling.
Since we've been together.
That's Saturday afternoon in the kitchen, your parents moving slow and close, not saying a word. Al Green didn't need you to say anything either. He just needed you to feel it. While Let's Stay Together was recorded in 1971 at the legendary High Records studio.
Since we've been together.
In Memphis, Tennessee, a place that practically had soul baked into the walls. Produced by the great Willie Mitchell, the song hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Ooh, baby.
In 1972, and it sat on top of the R&B charts for 9 straight weeks. 9 weeks, that's not a hit, that's a takeover. The lyrics are pure and simple. I love you whether times are good or bad. That's it, no games, no complications. Just love in its most honest form, and that simplicity is exactly why it still hits the same way today as it did over 50 years ago.
Times are good or bad.
Now here's the honest truth about why some younger people don't know Al Green the way they should. After his commercial peak in the early 70s, Al Green made a dramatic personal decision. He became a pastor. He walked away from secular music almost entirely and dedicated himself to gospel. The mainstream music industry moved on without him, and a whole generation of new R&B listeners never got properly introduced. But for those of us who were there, we never forgot. Al Green is proof that real soul doesn't need a heavy production. Sometimes all it takes is one voice telling the truth.
Times are good.
With nothing to hide. And if you think that story had depth, just wait until we get to number 9, because the next artist on this list left us far too soon, but not before he wrote a song that someone else turned into one of the most powerful anthems in history. Number 9, Otis Redding, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
On the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Imagine sitting somewhere quiet, maybe watching water, maybe watching cars pass by outside a window, and you feel that particular kind of loneliness that doesn't even hurt anymore. It's just there. That's where this song lives. That whistling at the end.
Change. Everything still remains the same.
That wasn't planned. That was Otis Redding filling space because he hadn't written the final lyrics yet, and it became the most memorable moment on the record.
Thing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way.
Dock of the Bay was recorded in November 1967 at Stax Studios in Memphis, just 3 days before Otis Redding died in a plane crash on December 10th, 1967.
Look like nothing's gonna.
He was only 26 years old. The song was produced by Steve Cropper, who co-wrote it with Otis and released posthumously on Volt Records in January 1968. It became the first posthumous single to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Wasting time.
And here's the weight of that. Otis Redding never heard his own song on the radio as a #1 hit. He never knew. The song is about a drifter sitting by the San Francisco Bay watching the ships roll in.
Just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide.
Feeling like he's got nowhere to go and no reason to rush. It's quiet heartbreak and it's devastating. The tragedy of Otis Redding's legacy is simple. He never got the full life of celebrity that would have kept his name in everyone's mouth. He was gone before interviews.
And look like nothing's gonna come my way. So
Before television specials, before the era of artist mythology, but every serious music fan, every music journalist, every producer worth their salt, they know
gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock.
Rolling Stone knows, and now so do you. If you're enjoying this countdown so far, do me a favor, smash that like button right now. It helps more people like you find content like this. #8 is coming up, and this one changes everything.
Loneliness won't leave me alone. Listen, 2000.
No, because the man at #8 was called the greatest singer who ever lived, not greatest R&B singer, greatest singer, period. #8, Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come.
By the river, in a little tent.
When those strings rise up at the beginning, you don't just hear it, you feel it behind your chest. This is a man telling you he has been through something almost too heavy to carry, and he's telling you anyway. Because somebody needed to.
Change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Released in December 1964 on RCA Records, Sam Cooke wrote this after being turned away from a whites-only motel in Louisiana in 1963. He was already one of the biggest stars in America. Didn't matter.
I don't know what's up there.
And he went home and wrote this song. It became an anthem of the civil rights movement, played at marches, whispered in churches. Rolling Stone named Sam Cooke the single greatest singer of all time in their 2023 list.
They keep telling me don't hang around.
He was also a revolutionary businessman. He founded his own record label and owned his own publishing rights at a time when black artists almost never had that power. He was only 33 years old when he was shot and killed, 11 days after this song was released.
A long time coming, but I know.
Then he never saw what it meant to the world, and that's the part that stays with you. Without Sam Cooke, there is no Marvin Gaye, no Al Green, no Luther Vandross. He built the road, they just walked on it.
Knocking me.
At #7, a man Bob Dylan called the greatest poet in America, and Dylan wasn't talking about himself. #7, Smokey Robinson, The Tracks of My Tears.
I might be laughing loud and hearty.
This is a song about wearing a smile like a mask, being the life of the party on the outside while something inside you is quietly breaking. You've been there. Most of us have.
So take a good look at my face. You'll see
Smokey Robinson put words to something most people couldn't say and did it with a voice so light and gentle it almost didn't feel like pain. Released in 1965 on Motown's Tamla label, produced by Smokey himself.
with another girl, seeming like I'm having fun.
Marv Tarplin wrote that opening guitar riff, one of the most recognizable in all of soul music. It made Rolling Stone's 500 greatest songs of all time. And Bob Dylan, Nobel Prize winner, literary giant,
You're the permanent one. So take
publicly said Smokey Robinson was America's greatest living poet. What most people don't realize is that at the exact same time Smokey was performing and charting himself, he was writing and producing massive hits for other Motown artists. My Girl for the Temptations, songs for Marvin Gaye. Well, he was running a creative factory and starring in it at the same time. People know the songs, they just don't always know the man behind them. The Motown machine was so big it sometimes swallowed the individual depth of its own artists. But Smokey was never just a Motown product, he was a poet. And the world is still catching up to what he was doing in 1965. Number 6, the most technically perfect voice in the history of popular music, and a number that is going to blow your mind. Number 6, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. Before she sings a single word, there's just her breath. And in that breath, you already feel everything that's coming. Then her voice opens up like a set of doors you didn't know were closed. That's Whitney. She made space feel bigger.
But I know.
Originally written by Dolly Parton in 1974, Whitney's version was recorded for the Bodyguard soundtrack in 1992, produced by David Foster for Arista Records. It spent 14 consecutive weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. 14, it became the best-selling single by a woman in history at the time. Rolling Stone named her the second greatest singer of all time in 2023. Here's what most people get wrong. That bold, unaccompanied opening vocal was not the original plan. Whitney and David Foster tried multiple arrangements. The decision to strip everything away and let her voice stand completely alone for those opening bars came late in the process.
And I wish you joy.
That one brave choice turned a beautiful song into a once-in-a-generation recording, 7 consecutive number 1 singles from her debut album. A record that still stands. But her story is also about what the industry can do to a talent it doesn't fully protect. The pressure of being Whitney Houston every single day wore on her in ways we only ever saw from the outside. Why she left in 2012, the hole she left has never been filled. We're halfway through it. Which song has hit you hardest so far? Drop it in the comments right now. I want to know.
Love.
Number 5 has a story that goes beyond music. It goes into a boardroom battle that almost stopped one of the greatest albums ever made from being released at all. Number 5, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On?
Mother, there's too many.
Put this on in a quiet room and really listen. Not as background, not while scrolling, just sit with it. Because what Marvin Gaye did here was ask the most human question possible, what is happening to us, and make it feel like a warm conversation instead of a scream.
Of you crying, brother.
Released on Motown in January 1971, produced by Marvin himself. Inspired by what his brother Frankie told him about coming home from Vietnam, the violence, the confusion, the feeling that something in America had broken.
Brother, there's far too many of.
Rolling Stone consistently ranks the album in their top 5 greatest albums of all time across all genres. 13 number 1 R&B singles across his career. Now, here's the story I promised you.
You dying, you know we got to fight.
There are different versions of what happened next. Some say Marvin threatened to never record again. Now, what is documented is that Gordy eventually relented.
Find a way to bring some loving.
The single was released in January 1971. Within days, it was selling 80,000 copies a day. Motown rushed the album into production.
Here today, Father.
The man who was told no proved yes. His story doesn't end cleanly. Personal struggles, a bitter divorce, tax battles, a retreat to Europe, and then on April 1st, 1984, the day before his 45th birthday, his father shot and killed him.
Father, we don't need to escalate.
But what Marvin Gaye left behind is this: proof that an artist can look at the most powerful person in their industry and say, this truth matters more than your comfort.
Oh, it's not
Every artist who has ever fought for creative control walked through a door Marvin Gaye kicked open. At number 4, a man who went blind as a baby and still saw music more clearly than almost anyone who ever lived. Number 4, Stevie Wonder, Superstition. Two notes in and your body is already moving. Your brain hasn't even caught up yet. That's not an accident. That is 22-year-old Stevie Wonder playing every single instrument on this record himself. And understanding rhythm at a level most musicians never reach in a lifetime. Released on Tamla/Motown in October 1972, produced entirely by Stevie. Number 1 on both pop and R&B simultaneously.
sad is the song.
But the real story is what this song launched. A 4-year creative run that produced Talking Book, Intervisions, Fulfillingness's first finale, and Songs in the Key of Life.
Don't understand and you suffer.
4 albums, 4 masterpieces, back to back to back to back. Multiple entries in Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums. 4 consecutive Album of the Year.
You don't want no saving.
Grammys, something no solo artist has ever matched. The fun fact, Stevie originally wrote Superstition as a gift for guitarist Jeff Beck. The deal was Jeff would get the song, Stevie would get a guest appearance in return, but Stevie's own version got released first and buried Jeff's before it even had a chance.
When you believe in things.
25 Grammy Awards, full artistic control negotiated from Motown at age 21. And still, the younger generation sometimes treat him as a nostalgia act.
7 years of bad luck.
They hear the hits on shuffle and miss what those songs were doing in their time. Stevie Wonder wasn't making music for the moment.
You don't want no saving.
He was making music for always. Number 3, a man Rolling Stone placed in their top 10 greatest artists of all time, and the man who quietly made it possible for everyone else on this list to exist. Number 3, Ray Charles, Georgia on My Mind.
Just an old sweet song.
This song doesn't announce itself. It eases in, gentle, almost fragile. Then that voice arrives and suddenly the room feels heavier and warmer at the same time.
It's moonlight through the
Ray Charles didn't sound like a man singing, he sounded like a man remembering. Recorded in 1960 for ABC Paramount, produced by Sid Feller. Won 2 Grammys in 1961, later became the official state song of Georgia.
I said Georgia.
Yeah, originally a 1930 jazz standard by Hoagy Carmichael, Ray Charles remade it as a soul hymn. But what mattered most was the context around it.
Still in the peaceful dreams I see.
Ray Charles was fusing gospel with blues, country with R&B, jazz with pop, blurring lines people had decided were permanent. Religious leaders called it disrespectful. Some radio programmers refused him. He kept going.
Other arms.
Rolling Stone put him in the top 10 of their 100 greatest artists of all time. But here is the fact that tells you everything about who Ray Charles was.
Whoa, Georgia.
In 1960, he negotiated ownership of his own master recordings at a time when most black artists signed away everything and received pennies back.
Peaceful dreams I see. The road leads.
Ray Charles looked at his label and said, "I want my masters." And he got them. Jay-Z was talking about this in 2024.
On my mind.
Ray Charles did it 60 years earlier. He is the foundation of a building everyone admires, but few stop to examine. They see Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder,
Out to me. Other eyes.
and Whitney Houston above, and forget what all of it is sitting on. 2 spots left, and the man at number 2 didn't just perform music. He invented a new way for the human body to respond to sound. Number 2, James Brown. I Got You, I Feel Good.
I feel good. I feel good.
2 notes, that's all it takes. Your whole body answers before your mind can think. That grunt, that scream, that locked-in groove that hits somewhere below thought.
Take it up, Keith.
James Brown didn't ask your body to move. He told it to. Released on King Records in 1965, produced by James Brown, number 1 on the R&B chart, number 3 on the Hot 100. But the bigger story is what he was building underneath those simple lyrics. While everyone else was playing chord changes and melodies, James Brown was stripping music down to the groove itself, guitar as percussion, bass as percussion, voice as percussion. That approach became the foundation of funk, and funk became the foundation of hip-hop. Every producer who ever made a rap beat owes this man something. Rolling Stone ranked him number 7 in their 100 greatest artists, the highest of any pure R&B or funk artist on the entire list. His touring band was run like a military operation. Musicians were actually fined. Money taken from their checks for missing notes, wrong cues, wrong shoes. They almost staged a walkout once. But James Brown also paid his band better than almost anyone else on the road. He demanded perfection because he knew what was possible. 99 Billboard Hot 100 entries, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inaugural class 1986, and in April 1968, the point take. The night after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, the mayor of Boston asked James Brown to keep a packed arena calm by letting the city broadcast his concert live.
Get funky.
Historians credit that performance with helping prevent riots that night. One man, one concert, one city kept from the edge. James Brown is number 2, and the only artist standing above him.
Motown. Take it up, Keith.
The only name in all of R&B that Rolling Stone placed higher didn't just sing songs, she was the music.
If this song just hits you in that quiet place, don't let this moment be a one-time thing. Subscribe to Demo, We're building a home for real R&B and soul. The kind that heals, the kind that tells the truth. Hit subscribe and come back whenever you need a song that understands you.
Number 1, Aretha Franklin, Respect.
What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking.
You already finished that in your head, didn't you? You didn't need me to spell it out. That's what a number 1 record looks like. Not just popular, not just successful, permanently woven into you. Recorded in February 1967 at Atlantic Records in New York.
All I'm asking in return, honey.
Produced by Jerry Wexler. Aretha brought her sisters Irma and Carolyn into the studio, and together they rebuilt the entire song from the inside out. The original, as we mentioned,
Marvin is a good man. Treat me right when you get home. I'm gonna do it.
it was written by Otis Redding, a man asking his woman to respect him when he came home. Aretha kept the title and nothing else. She added the spelling, she added the call and response, she turned a request into a command.
Do it for me now, yeah.
It hit number 1 on both the pop and R&B charts. It won 2 Grammys. It became an anthem for the civil rights movement and the women's liberation movement at the same time. One song,
Give me my rock when you're moving that. Yeah,
2 revolutions. Rolling Stone placed Aretha in the top 10 of their 100 greatest artists, the highest position of any female artist on the entire list.
treat me right when you get home. I'm gonna do it for you like it's supposed to be done.
First woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, 1987, 20 number 1 R&B singles, over 75 million records sold worldwide, Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient,
MTC, yeah.
Jerry Wexler once said his job when working with Aretha was simply not to get in her way. She walked into the studio already knowing exactly what she was. Oh, that's what greatness looks like from the outside. Inevitable, already complete.
Man, treat me right when you get home. I'm gonna do it for you like it's supposed.
Aretha Franklin is number 1 because Rolling Stone said so, because the charts said so, because history said so, and because the first time you heard that voice, wherever you were, however old you were, something in you recognized it immediately. She was the queen of soul, and no vote was needed.